Welcome back to Intuitive Innovations. I'm Luna Goddess, and we are here at 216 Creator Studios, and I've got an amazing podcast for us today. We're talking about the 12 universal laws. So, to begin with, your life will start to change when you stop seeing your experiences as random and start to have pattern recognition and discernment. So, a lot of people understand, thanks to Rhonda Bryan's books like The Secret, work of Bob Proctor, they understand how the law of attraction works. And you throw that law around and you're like, I'm manifesting, I'm manifesting. Most often you're manifesting what you don't want in your life. You're not bringing in what you do. So we're going to kind of talk about that today. Most people do know about manifestation, as I said, but the energetic laws underneath and how to leverage those laws. And you're going to say, well, no, what do you mean? Well, y'all believe in gravity. Can you explain how gravity works? I mean, you could probably throw the equation of 9.8 at me. Sure. Great. You went to science class in high school. Congratulations. But you don't understand those laws. And you also don't understand that there are other energetic laws. The main themes today we're talking about are emotional healing, burnout, self awareness, nervous system regulation. That's a big one right now. If any of you are paying attention to what's happening energetically in our planet with Gaia, with the Schumann, that's going to be very helpful to you. Conscious living, spiritual growth, energetic patterns, which we talked about at that beginning, and intuition, and your role in the emotional responsibility of it all, my loves. So, to begin with, how many of you are feeling like you keep repeating the same emotional cycles, relationships, patterns, or burnout patterns, no matter how much inner work you do? For a very long time, you could be gurued up, you could be sitting in quiet contemplation, and nothing is coming through.
Nothing
Oh,
is coming through.
there we go. We're on live. Woo, we are in the talks. Thank you, Nico. So nothing's coming through. So you could be in meditation, you could be quiet, you could be doing the inner work, and you could be a really good person. And you are. I'm not saying you're not. But what I'm saying is you're still hitting the same burnout, the same patterns, the same disrespect, the same lack of boundaries. So we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about the first law and the most universal law and the most important law. That's the law of oneness. So what you have to understand when we look at the divine oneness law is everything is connected. Nothing is segregated. You, me, the tree, everything. That sounds like you, me, and Irene, but you, me, and the tree, everything blends, everything connects, everything sits that way. If you're joining us, welcome in. I am Luna. We're streaming across multiple platforms, and we're glad to be back on TikTok. So hello, everybody. Thank you for your tippity taps if you're on any of those platforms. What you do to yourself, you eventually do to others. So very importantly, something that you need to know is kind of like what you do, what you put out there comes back to you. How you treat yourself is how you treat others. How you treat others is how you treat yourself. What you heal in yourself, you eventually heal around you. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm an activist. I want to fix the planet. But they're chaotic in themselves. They're not fixing anything. They're not fixing anything until you realize, so above, so below, so within, so without. It's the internal work. It's that deeper healing of self. So that when we talk about that law of oneness, very important. People underestimate how deeply energy impacts their environments. They truly don't understand that their environment is dictated by energy. So what I mean by that is families carry emotional energy for generations. You have generational curses that you're unaware of. And I don't even call them curses because that sounds negative, but you have generational energetic family patterns, right? Anxiety spreads, fear spreads, calm spreads too, though, right? One healed person changes the entire dynamics. That's why we talk about cycle breakers. That's why we talk about the black sheep. We talk about the people that are working towards doing the healing. So one thing I can show you, for example, is I know people that are deathly afraid of driving on the expressway because their parents were deathly afraid of driving on the expressway. They have these energetic patterns. They have these energetic holds, right? So I want you to think about it. Have you ever walked into a room after there was an argument and it just felt heavy and you realize you instantly feel tension and you weren't a part of the argument, but you walk into that room. Well, that's that law of oneness at play. We all feel it, right? Your moods are impacted by your children, your relationships, your content, your audience, the things you're watching on the daily. You guys are doom scrolling and you're not even realizing you're having a negative impact to your emotional regulation. You have no clue what you are allowing through your eye gate and your ear gate. You have no idea how you're being saturated with fear. Take the warning. Your nervous system and your physical body. So the question I have for you, please feel free to interact in any platform that you're on, is have you walked into a room and immediately felt somebody's energy without saying a word? If you are an empath, that answer is a resounding yes. You can walk into a room. I can walk into a room and immediately know that person's a threat. That person's a narcissist. That person's an alcoholic. That person's just a straight up jerk. This person's cool. We'll hang out. We'll chat. Okay. You can feel it. They don't even have to open their damn mouths. And then you just wait back and let them you're not judging a book by its cover, but you're resonating with the energy that's there. You're resonating with the energy that's there. Energy speaks before people do. If you take one thing off about the law of divine oneness, energy speaks before people do. So then knowing that your energy speaks before you open your damn mouth, what do you want your energy to say about you? I know when I walk in a room as an empath, as a medium, as an intuitive, I can irritate the shit out of people's demons. And I'm okay with it. When I was younger, I didn't understand why people get so aggravated with me because I came with light and love and happiness and joy. And the next thing I knew, they were very irritated with me. I'm like, what? What did I do? I didn't do it. I was little, I was 10. But my discernment and my pattern recognition and my energy aggravated them. What do I want people to experience about my energy? I want them to feel safe. I want them to feel seen and heard. And that's for the people that deserve that energy. Or again, those people that I walk in and they're just energy vampires, I want them to just to stay the hell away from me. Okay. Law of vibration, my loves. Let's talk about the second law. So we talked about the law of oneness, and we're going to talk about that law of vibration. When we talk about that law of vibration, my darlings, the core idea is everything carries energetic frequency. And we've talked about this before. If you've ever been in my room when I've been streaming live, not when I'm on my podcast, but when we're not at the studio, when I'm at home, I will be playing frequency music. We'll play solfeggio healing frequencies. Okay. Let me make it very clear. You cannot hate yourself into healing. Some of you get up in the morning and you have this ritual or routine, call it as you wish, of looking in the mirror and making negative comments about yourself. And then think you can go take a journal moment and be like, I'm going to go write in my gratitude journal. You just shit all over yourself. Are you kidding me? You just sat and looked in the mirror and criticized everything that is a God-given gift to you, an individual gift to you. As long as you're human, I won't even get into some of the other stuff we were talking about earlier before the show. But you have looked at God's given grace and said, ew. You literally said ew to God. Congratulations. Or to the universe, or to whatever you believe in. You cannot hate yourself into healing. Spirituality is not emotional suppression. Woo! Ooh, nor is it a card to walk around flashing like it's a 21-year-old ID trying to get into a bar. You don't sit there and go, look, my spiritualism. I'm an intuitive. No, that's not what it's about. It's not flashy. And I will tell you, everybody's always like, it must be so wonderful to be a medium and intuitive, to know what people are thinking. No, it really isn't. Quite honestly, it is a burden and a blessing at the same time. Think about it. Think about it. So remember, a couple things. I want you to almost think to that movie, oh goodness, Inside Out, where every character kind of could come to the council of your brain and control, right? Sadness is a vibration. Joy is a vibration. Y'all, do you think they just made that movie for shits and giggles? No, they have to disclose. Sadness is a vibration. Joy is a vibration. Burnout is a vibration. Anxiety is a vibration. Anger is a vibration. Resentment is a vibration. But here's where the secret sauce comes in. So is authenticity. And authenticity And people are going to be like, but it's love and gratitude, Luna. It's love and no, 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 no. Pay attention. The highest vibration you can function at is authenticity. It is being your most authentic self, not trying to people please, not trying to approval suck, and not trying to fit in when you were born to stand out. All right. So think about these high vibrations when you're like, here's a perfect example. If I say how you doing, oh, everything's great. No, it's not. That's not being authentic. Nor do I want to sit here and hear about how, like, your toe is a fungus. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about showing up and being like, you know what? I'm going through some shit right now, Luna. I respect that. So am I. Don't think because I'm ahead steps on this path of spiritual enlightenment, like I'm playing Candyland bingo, that I'm way far ahead of you. Man, I hit one of those slides. That's Chutes and Ladders. I don't know. Y'all get what I'm saying. You end up back. You backtrack. Okay. Sometimes you fall back in your journey because you need to re-heal something that you thought you already healed. Because healing starts to take on different perspectives when you get to new vantage points as you climb that mountain. There is when we talk about vibration, a huge tie-in for your nervous system. Okay. To begin with, a dysregulated nervous system. And I see a bunch of people walking around with dysregulated nervous systems. P.S. It's 11:11. Take a second. Did you claim what you deserve? I sure hope so. They're walking around with dysregulated nervous systems. So how they're really reacting, their energy, decision making, relationships, and their intuition are offline. And sometimes I want to like pull a snap out of it and smack them one, but I give them grace because I understand they're working from dysregulation. They're working from dysregulation. How many times are you exhausted from pretending you're okay all the time? I know as a mom, and maybe for those other moms out there, you feel like you have to keep it all together. And you fall apart in the shower, you fall apart in the drive to work or wherever you're driving or the shopping mall, and your eyes are swollen shut almost from crying and driving because that's the one place where you can be and kind of release. Remember, your nervous system is your beacon and it's spiritual too. I want to ask you a question, and you don't have to put it in the chat. I just want you to sit with it. Are you actually healing or are you performing healing? Is this performative? So as you sit in the vibration will never match you. So you can't sit there. And this kind of goes along too with people that sit there and tell me, I want to manifest a ton of money, but you sit there and bitch about your bills. You're not on that vibration. You're not on that vibration. You're on a vibration of lack. And the universe says, oh, you want to be on that vibration of lack? Bam, I'm going to match your energy. I'm giving you lack. Okay. Let's talk about that next law, the law of correspondence, law number 3. And this is what I started talking about, so within, so without, as above, so below. It's internal patterns reflect externally, my loves. Your external reality often mirrors your internal relationship with yourself. And this is where we see a lot of people do projection, where they hate something about themselves, but they criticize others, unfortunately. And let me make this very clear. I'm not victim blaming anybody. I'm not trying to shame anybody. We're talking that internal chaos, and this is where I watch a lot of people that are very comfortable living in drama and trauma, and they are creators of it. And I know some in my personal life. Guess what? Hey, family of origin, you guys suck. You pulled all this shit. Honestly, I watched you not have internal regulation, so you cause external chaos. I clocked that. Okay. Self-abandonment repeats in relationships. When you get this pattern of not understanding who you are and being secure in yourself, you will continue to be abused in every relationship. Every space, place, and face will treat you the same way because you have not established the level of respect and the boundaries that you need inside. Your financial fears affect your abundance. I just told you that with the vibration. Your financial fears affect your abundance. And emotional avoidance repeats patterns. Okay? You're not dealing with your own shit and the shit of all your lineage that falls on you. It is until a cycle breaker shows up and says, no more. This will not be a part of my reality anymore. You'll continue to choose. I can't tell you how many people come in my room wanting readings and they're like, when will so-and-so love me? Will so-and-so come back to me? No, because you don't even come back to you. You'll continue to choose emotionally unavailable people repeatedly. Okay. This is not, again, I'm not blaming you. I'm just helping you understand the laws that continue to give you perpetual interaction. Okay. What remains unhealed internally often repeats externally. What remains unhealed internally often repeats externally. Do we have anything, Nico and Patrick, anything coming up that we have questions on?
Marcy says the healing is hard to navigate.
It is. It is hard to navigate, but you have to get in the fucking boat. Like, you can't sit there and say, I want to go on to calmer shores and stay docked. You can't. It takes effort. It takes small incremental changes on the daily. If you keep defaulting back to the changes that you've always made, there's no healing, there's no change, there's no direction. It is rudderless movement. It is staying on a dock saying, I want to explore the world. You don't. You're tethered to the dock. Same thing with your healing. So the question I have is, what patterns keep showing up in your life no matter how much you try to avoid it? Because there's something deep seated there. And what is life trying to show me through repetition? I'm telling you, until you learn the lesson, Spirit's going to keep teaching you the same thing. It's going to be like Groundhog's Day. Okay. Looking at a couple other things. We're going to move now into the one that you probably are most familiar with, which is the law of attraction, my loves. Energy attracts similar energetic experiences. Okay. Thanks to, like I said, Bob Proctor, Rhonda Bryan, The Secret, other great texts, other great people that have written on Napoleon Hill. There's a ton of books that talk about the law of attraction. People don't always attract what they want. Pay attention here. Often they attract what feels emotionally familiar. Okay. So again, we talk about coming from dysfunctional family. You attract dysfunctional relationships. You go, but no, Luna, I don't want that. You are attracting what feels emotionally familiar. You do not manifest every hardship, though. Let me make sure that's very clear. You are attracting what is most familiar with what feels right to your body. And that's what takes the hardest part of what Marcy was saying. It's hard. Healing's hard, yes. But trauma creates familiarity. Familiarity feels safe. Self-worth impacts relationships. So if you come from a family unit where they made you feel worthless, where they made you feel second class, you're going to, until you do that emotional healing, keep finding that in all your other relationships. Beliefs shape your choices. And of course, emotional identity matters. So again, if you see how all these laws are coming together, it's like they're part of a puzzle or part of a quilt. We're quilting together everything. So if I want to attract more money, but my mindset is a middle class money that I've always watched my parents struggle. I've been conditioned to believe that money is a root of all evil, or money's hard to get, or all of this has to be reprogrammed into my head to understand that money is no different than air we breathe. It is currency. It is called current. They chose that word so particular. It is currency. What you give it to and the value you put on it is energetic. If I go to try to take a dollar bill from the United States and spend it in Japan, I have to convert it. I have to have it make value. I can't just walk around and spend a dollar bill. It has to have value. Sometimes people confuse survival patterns for intuition. This was when I had to work through myself as an intuitive am I just trying to predict the next thing because that feels familiar and it feels safe to say, well, this is going to happen because, and I'm going through the lens of trauma? Or am I really truly tapping into my intuition because I've done the emotional system regulation? I've sat with my regulation. I've done my mindset. I've done my heart side hacks, right? How many times have you mistaken emotional familiarity for connection? Oh my God. Raise your hand. I have, where this trauma bond happens. Okay. If you've ever been with narcissists, okay, a lot of narcissist exes in my past, narcissistic mother, narcissistic family members. Okay. All of that connects through. And it felt like, oh my God, I'm so connected. This is so great. This is so fabulous. They really see me. No, it was trauma. And then you're chasing your tail and you're chasing a person. Love is not chasing another person. And that butterflies that you feel is your nervous system telling you it's not safe. Stop and think about, oh my God, he gives me butterflies, and I wonder if he's going to call me, and I wonder if he's going to text me, and I wonder if we're going to go out on. Does that sound stable to you? Does that sound stable? Because when somebody loves you, they show up and they do the things to show up and they make you feel safe. So the big takeaway here with the law of attraction, healing changes what feels attractive to you. So the moment that now you start to feel like this doesn't feel safe, and you start to do the healing and boring, like, oh, he's boring. Yeah, no, he's stable, and you're not used to boring, sis. Okay. You want the excitement of the instability because that's what's familiar. Okay. What emotional patterns keep pulling you towards the same experience? Sit with that. What emotional patterns keep pulling you towards the same experience? So don't sit there and be like, oh my God, this is like my 6th breakup. And this guy totally cheated on me and he ghosted me. And then he took my money. And I'm going to look at you and be like, shocking. And it's not me being insensitive. It's me saying, yeah, I saw this a mile away, sis. This is the same pattern of the 6 last boyfriends you've had. Shocking. Stop playing the role you think you're supposed to play in your life and play the role you are. Be the heroine or hero of your own story. Period. Okay, speaking of that, what do you got to do? Next law of inspired action. Okay, the law of inspired action. There's a bunch of people that'll sell you a course, that'll sell you a class. I mean, gosh, you all know you can check out my website, and all information is available there to you if you want to get a heart set, a mindset hack, you want to work with me one-on-one. That's not what I'm trying to do here right now. I'm trying to tell you a simple thing. People are like, I'm going to manifest the perfect partner, the money, da, 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 da. You have to think it. And I've said this a million times. We think it, we say it, we feel it, but then you better move your ass, put something behind it. The universe does not recognize lazy. And I'm not saying that those are periods of time you're resting. That's what I'm talking about. It requires movement. Manifestation requires movement. You cannot manifest the life you listen to this one. You cannot manifest the life you want and refuse to participate in it. The hell? You cannot manifest the life you want and refuse to participate in it. So if you're sitting there going, oh my God, I want to be wealthy, luxurious, beautiful, da, 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 and you're not participating or becoming her or becoming him or becoming they, them, whatever it is you want to become, okay? Wanting keeps people stuck. Oh my God, I wish I could. I wish. Okay, yes. I always say claim, align. Wanting and wishing is the work of children until they know as adults. It's about claiming and aligning. Fear will delay your action. Why do you think they use fear against us? Why do you think that they have you so small? And you're watching the news or you're watching this or that. I haven't watched the news in about 7 years. Am I still understanding of everything that's happening in the world? Hell yeah. Do I need to be put into fear? No. Okay. Alignment still requires effort. This is what I said. You become that version of yourself. And those small steps matter. They always matter. Clarity often comes through movement. Okay. One thing that I want to say is bravery is a result of being brave when you knew you couldn't or thinking that you couldn't. Bravery isn't like the person that wields the sword and the shield. The first time they picked it up, they were like, oh shit, I'm going to battle. All right, F it, let's go. The concept of that is so important. So wanting visibility while being terrified to post. So I'm 50 years old. I'm a social media influencer. I laugh when I say it because Jesus Christ, I'm 50 years old. Okay. I am a content creator. I am a podcast host. Did I see this on my bingo card for when I was, even as an intuitive, did I see this on my bingo card for 50? Hell no. But there is a part of me that sometimes feels locked down for being, not for being authentic. Y'all know I just let it fly, but for being visible. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, that vulnerability kind of kicks in and I catch myself and I'm like, no, I'm showing up authentically as myself, vulnerable as myself, visible as myself. And then you look at it and I do all those things and my numbers will be here or there. Sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. But that discernment scares people, right? So the question I have is confident, here's the question. What dreams are you delaying because you're afraid of judgment? Oh, Lord. Confidence is often created through action, not before it. So if you're worried about somebody judging you, my loves, okay, what would happen if I stopped trying to feel perfectly ready? You're not ready. You're never going to be perfectly ready. Take those small steps. The first time I was able to go live on any social media stream, it was on TikTok. It was April the 4th, 2025. So it's a little over a year now that I've been an influencer. And I guess I am an influencer. And I laugh at myself because I influence in different ways, right? I don't have 5,000 people in my room. I'm not, the Jeffree Star. Thank Jesus, I'm not. No disrespect, Mr. Star, but thank you, I'm not you. Nor do I want to be, nor would I ever want to be. I can only be Luna. Okay. But what would happen if I stopped wanting to feel perfectly ready? Sit with that. Okay, let's look at the next one. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. That one's a big one. That's a mouthful. Nailed it. The core idea, energy constantly changes form. True. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. We know that scientifically. So pain. Here's a fun one for you. All y'all that are praying for wise, I want to be so wise. Guess where it comes from? Pain. Pain is in that process of becoming wisdom. Pain that is suppressed becomes suffering. So if we're processing our pain, we can learn the lesson from it. It becomes wisdom. If we suppress the pain, it becomes physical ailments. It becomes suffering. Energy is moving. Remember, emotion is energy in motion. So if you're not allowing yourself to feel it, enjoy your autoimmune. Enjoy the big C. Enjoy your allergies. Enjoy your anxiety because you're not moving it. You're gonna be like, but Luna, you don't know my situation. Yes, I know, but I know the laws and they apply to all of us. Okay. Couple things that I found interesting in the studies and in the research. Anger can tell you that you need boundaries or that your boundaries have been violated. And some people are like, but I'm trying to be zen. No, this is what I tell you. I'm love and light with a hell of right. There are moments where I'm going to throw hands. And I know because my boundaries have been violated, right? I'd rather stay in the vibration of, namaste. No, I'm going to go. Namaste. No, I'm going to go. Okay. Because I know my boundaries, right? Grief can become compassion. Have you ever gone through something hard? Hey, Jacob. If you've ever gone through something hard, you'll understand that it can be very challenging. But you can take that grief, the loss of a loved one, the loss of yourself, the loss of identity, loss of a job, the loss of whatever, and bring that to compassion. Look at how we're transmuting it. Fear can become growth. Okay. I can't tell you the time I was in El Yunque in Puerto Rico, and I was leading a trip of students, and I was showing them all around Puerto Rico. And they said, oh, hey, Luna, we're going to go ziplining over the El Yunque, which is the rainforest. And I went, oh, excuse me. And then we're going to rappel off the side of a mountain and then go into these dark caves. What? But I did. That was the first time the first time I'm ever going to go ziplining is across a damn rainforest and then rappelled. I rappelled before, so I knew how to do that. And then of course, go into a dark cave that was apparently, possessed by indigenous people. Cool. But I did it and it was growth and it was the coolest thing ever. So sometimes we have to just go to that edge and jump. Right? And trauma can become awareness. That's so true. Use that discernment and that pattern recognition to keep you safe. Most important thing, healing's not linear. Okay. especially for me too. I can say vulnerably, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, I've leveled up. And then the littlest thing can be like, but no. And you find yourself going in these patterns as you zigzag zag up the mountain. Okay. Healing does not mean you won't feel pain ever again. Healing means pain moves through you differently as you heal. I'm not promising you in your healing that you're not going to feel pain. I will tell you that as you heal, the pain will start to move through you differently. Okay. In this question of perpetual transmutation of energy, what emotion have you been carrying that your body is begging you to process? What are you suppressing? What are you maybe not paying attention to, my loves? Okay, quick check in with the collective. Any questions or anything we need to take a look at as we now go and moving that pain? And what are you afraid will happen if you fully feel this emotion? What do we got?
Back to I think it was the law of attraction.
Okay.
I am working to break that trauma bond, Marcy says.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Breaking that trauma bond is essential, right? Because again, remember, whatever we're vibrating on, whatever we're attracting, you're going to find that same bond in other people until you start to look. So remember, the emotions are and the energy are asking you to move it. Okay. We're going to take a look at the law of cause and effect. Here we go. Remember, I like to say this following expression: you sit down to the banquet of your consequences. So everything you do creates a ripple effect. Your life is often shaped more by your repeated habits than your occasional intentions. Let me give you an example. If you have repeated habits of the way you date, the patterns that you date, but you're lighting an intention candle, hoping it's going to change and you're going to find the love of your life because you're maybe getting one of those candles that I have for you on TikTok. Guess what, folks? Yes, those candles help, but your repeated habits dictate more than occasional intentions. Okay. You can't think about it like spiritual hygiene. You brush your teeth every day to prevent cavities. So that's a repeated habit. What are you doing repeatedly for your spiritual hygiene? Are you grounding? Are you meditating? Are you journaling? You can't just show up one weekend to like a summit, or like if we do a Luna experience somewhere and be like, oh wow, this is fabulous. No, it has to be daily spiritual hygiene practices. Don't get me wrong, we'd have a lot of fun. Remember that karma is not neither good nor bad. It is not karmic or cosmic revenge, importantly. So let's talk about expanding. The tiny decisions matter. Habits create your identity. Emotional reactions ripple outward. Accountability matters, right? We're held accountable. Patterns become destiny over time. There you go. There you go. Jacob says on TikTok, I practice spirituality 24/7, 365. Exactly. You have to treat it like brushing your teeth. Maybe you do your spirituality while brushing your teeth. I'm thankful, universe, God, Allah, whatever you want to pray to, whoever you want to be show gratitude to. What are you grateful for as you look in the mirror, acknowledging the beauty that you are within? Your future is built in your ordinary daily choices, my loves. Your future is built in your ordinary daily choices. So what are you choosing? I guess the better question is, what daily habit is quietly shaping your future right now? So let's get real. What are you doing on the daily that is shaping your habits right now? So for example, off TikTok shop in my showcase, I have a daily journal. It's a 5-minute daily journal. I use it every day. I will not get out of bed until it's done, and I will not go to bed until it's done. It probably takes more like 3 minutes than 5 minutes, but it is a daily intention that I give gratitude, that I have an affirmation, that I reflect on my day and say, thank you for this good. Even if your day was a pile of shit, there's something good that came out of it. Daily reflection, repeated practice, repeated emotion. Every time I walk to my mailbox, I will visit, I call it the love tree, the tree that was planted on the day that Cinnamon and I were married. And I will give it an offering and I'll put my hands on it for grounding. These are repeated actions. Okay. Let's look at the law of compensation, Law 8. We're just cooking with these laws, you guys. Any questions? Go ahead, put them in the chat. Thank you, Mama Bear. Appreciate you. Grand Rising, friend. Grand Rising. The law of compensation looks like this. Energy returns in various forms. That's cool. So this is where people are like, I'm such a good person, so I do all these good things, so all good things come back to me. Yes. Oh, thank you, Mama Bear. Yes, absolutely. Overgiving is not always kindness, though. Please understand, overgiving is not always kindness. My love, sometimes it's survival. Sometimes it's that people pleasing again. Sometimes that's the approval sucking we want to do. That I'll say, if you give from a generous, open heart, then yes, the law of compensation says you will get it back. But if you're giving because you want people to see you as that good person or approval, I'm gonna do all this community service because I want everyone to know I'm a good person. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Okay. Let's talk about that fact that burnout from overfunctioning, receiving support. Oh God, this one is hard for me. I am such a Gen X GSD, man. That's the get shit done, right? That I'll do it myself. I have to admit something, you guys, and it's gonna be vulnerable. And you're gonna be like, Luna. Yesterday, I decided to clean out my garage, my whole effing garage, totes, heavy stuff. And my husband came home and he was like, "Oh my God, we could have done this weekend." I said, "Nope, I wanted to get it done." And that is kind of a trauma response, is thinking I'm the only one that can do things. I can lean on him now, but and I've done this historically, I tied my self-worth to action. Some people tie their self-worth to action and accomplishment. Some people tie their self-worth to money. I wanted it done and I wanted to feel good about it. So under charging and emotional labor, just kind of be aware of those in the law of compensation. The bigger conversation, especially for women, many people, and please lock in with me, mamas, you were conditioned to believe that exhaustion equals worthiness. That exhaustion means that you're productive and fabulous. And I'll nail it with this little quick question. How many of you struggle more with receiving than giving? For the longest time, I have struggled with receiving than giving. I'll give you a perfect example. How do you take a compliment? How do you receive help? What do you do when somebody says, "Hey, what can I do? How can I help you?" You're like, "I'm okay. I'm fine. I got it. Everything's okay." Mamas out there, even daddies, okay? People in general, you deserve support before you completely collapse. You deserve support before you end up with a hospital band around your wrist teaching you to slow down. So the bigger question I have for you is, where are you abandoning yourself trying to earn love or validation? Hey, Mercy. Where are you abandoning yourself trying to earn love or validation? Heavy stuff, because I struggled with that for a very long time. It's really funny because in my 50s, I feel like I've gotten much better at this. Let's look at the law of relativity. Perspective shapes experiences. Based on my vista, based on my lens, right? I'm able to see things differently. Thank you. Yeah, they do need to hear it, Jacob. You're right. Comparison disconnects people from their own path. Holy Moses, I don't know how many times I can say this. Lock in with me. Comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison disconnects you from your own path. You can't look at my life and be like, "Oh my God, I'd love to have a podcast. I'd love to be an influencer. I'd love to have the love like you have with your husband. I love." No, 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 no. You can say, "Hey, that's really cool for you, Luna." That's not your path. And any jealousy or comparison that you have disconnects you from what is intended for you. Okay? Unfortunately, and we are on social media platforms, it distorts reality. Not everything is Facebook flawless or Pinterest perfect or TikTok terrific. Sometimes things just aren't that way, and you only get a glimpse of the good. You don't see like, I used to see parents I would see this, the mother screaming at her kids on Easter with their cute little matching outfits at the church to take the picture, and you just see the picture, you don't see the trauma that went into it almost, okay? Don't pain comparison either. Growth through contrast, resilience, and perspective shifts. The bigger conversation around this, my loves, is someone else struggling more does not invalidate your pain. So, for example, people will be like, "Oh, I feel bad about this." And it might be they feel bad because they have an autoimmune disease that they'll have for life, but this person has cancer. So I can't feel my pain because they have a bigger pain than my pain. No, someone else struggling more does not invalidate your pain. Important to think about that, right? Your struggle still matters even if someone else has suffered differently or more intensely based on whatever measurement or spectrum you have. Okay. Your struggle still matters. It's your struggle, right? How often do you minimize your own pain because someone else has it worse? I'm just going to like minimize my own pain because so and so has it worse. Or I can't feel that way because so and so has it worse. No. Importantly, what is in the season of developing strength I cannot see yet? So what are you trying to develop that maybe isn't coming through? Because remember a seed and the pain it has to go through when it gets planted in the darkness and it doesn't know what it's going to become. And with the right resources of sunshine and light, right? It starts to burst out of its seed. I'm not a seedologist or whatever the hell that is, right? It starts to burst open. And the next thing you know, it's sprouting up and pushing through. You're buried alive. It's pushing through the ground to come up and become crazy. Let's take a look at the law of polarity, my love. Law number 10. That's a fun one. Everything contains opposites. Okay. Everything contains opposites, darling. So a couple things. You can deeply love someone and still need boundaries. Oh my God, I deeply love my mother. I deeply love my mother, but I need boundaries. I can deeply love my children, but I need boundaries. I can deeply love the people that have held a space in my life before and need boundaries. When we talk about that law of polarity, we talk about light and shadow, growth and discomfort, fear and excitement. That is exactly where alchemy ties in. You know it, Jacob. Love and grief, strength and vulnerability. So, as an alchemist, what I'm able to do with the law of polarity is we work in those shades. If you are feeling light, right, understand that you work in your shadow. And then we come and do the work in the middle. Alchemy moves that energy. It moves and works on that scale of polarity from moving discomfort to growth, from moving fear to excitement. And understand fear and excitement are the same damn experience in your body. Same experience. So I'm not terrified of anything. I'm excited about it. I try to move that. I try to move that. People struggle because they think emotion cancels each other out. Like, oh my God, if I feel happy, I won't feel scared. No. If I feel growth, I won't be discomforted. Some of my most amazing growth has come in periods of discomfort where I'm being stretched, where I'm being pulled apart, where I am at my bare knuckles and they're bleeding and I'm fighting and clawing to get out of that dirt that I've been buried in to grow. Some of my most amazing breakthroughs with the light in my heart have come where I've worked in my shadow and I realize my inequities. Two truths can exist at the same time. I've said this a hard time. Two truths can exist at the same time. If you saw the text between my mom and I for Mother's Day, the two truths that can exist is she can feel that she did a great job as a mother, and I can feel like I have trauma coming out of my childhood. Two truths existing at the same time, right? Your perspective does dictate that a little bit. You do learn some of your best life lessons in troubling times, 100%. What truth have you been resisting because it feels emotionally uncomfortable? Like you lack a pain, like it's the West Wing in Beauty and the Beast. And you say, no, don't go up there. Don't go. You can never go there. You have to go there. And what duality are you currently living inside? What is harboring inside? So, in that law of polarity, understanding that even the most beautiful hearted and intentioned people, still in the yin and yang of things, can still have something on the polarity side. And then what side of it do you want to kind of move back and forth to? Let's look at law 11. We have covered a lot so far today. If there's questions, please put them in the chat. I'm trying to monitor on the TikTok side and, of course, across all of our streaming platforms. If you're listening to this on repeat and not live, you can always reach out to us. Oh my gosh, the lights just went. We have ghosts in the studio at lunagoddess.org and connect with us that way, my loves. Law of rhythm. Life moves in cycles. My God, please pay attention. Okay. Rest is not failure. Winter is part of nature too. Nature rests. It rests for a whole damn fourth of the year. Okay. We talk about burnout cycles, creative seasons. We talk about emotional waves, rest periods, spiritual winters. Listen to your soul as much as you listen to your mind, as much as you listen to your body. We live in I live in the United States. And that is a period or a place where we glorify productivity. Must be productive, must be moving, must be going, must be great. Let's look at your metrics. Let's look at this. Let's look at your money. Let's look at your bank account. Why? That's a grand confuser, isn't it? You're not meant to bloom. But listen to this. Society will glorify this productivity. Nature doesn't. As unnatural. You're not meant to bloom in every season. Oh my God, could you imagine what it would look like if you walked outside and you saw flowers in winter coming up through the snow? What? You're not meant to bloom in every season. You think you're better than a bunch of flowers that have been doing this for centuries, generations, thousands upon thousands of years? We're supposed to flow with nature, not against it. How many of you feel guilty when your body has to rest? I used to be. Yeah, that would be crazy. I love ghosts. Yeah, there's a bunch of them in the studio. We've had a conversation already more with them today. One of these days, I should just do a what the ghost is saying in the studio podcast, or do straight up medium work, which we could think about. How many of you felt guilty when you needed to rest? I have. Oh my God, I used to tie my worth to my productivity. And as a Capricorn, I sometimes downshift and I find myself back in that energy. Yesterday, I felt that way. If I felt productive and I got the garage done and I got these love away gift things put together, and if I did this, then I'm worthy. Then I'm fabulous. Then I'm wonderful. I'm all those things just by being. Okay. Just by being. So that deeper reflection, my love, is what season of life are you in right now? What are you honestly in? I truly believe for myself, the season I'm in is one of rest and redirection. Rest and redirection. Understanding what I've been called to do. Understanding who I'm being called to be. I literally wrote in my gratitude journal, one of the things I'm excited about, or one of the things I'm grateful for, is becoming her. Becoming what I'm finally able to feel and be when I've worked through my trauma and my drama, and I allow myself that opportunity to take the shape that spirit always knew I was supposed to take. But let's be honest, I signed up with this life contract. I knew there was going to be drama. I knew there was going to be trauma. I put myself through past life regressions. I knew exactly what's going to happen. And I know to a certain point, even as I'm growing exponentially on social media, I know that I'm still playing it small a little bit. Because I know the persecution I've felt in other lifetimes. And that transfers over of sometimes when we use our voice, we become targets. And I know I am one, and that's okay. I'm willing to put my voice to it. The last of the laws is the law of gender, my loves. Okay. The law of gender. When we take a look at the law of gender, everything contains masculine and feminine energy. Now, don't come for me if you're like, there's a billion damn genders. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not disrespecting how anybody wants to be addressed or seen or present themselves in their identity. I'm talking about spiritual law of masculine and feminine energy that is in all of us. Okay. This is not biological gender. That's what I want to make very clear. Because some people are like, Luna, how could you say there's only two genders? This is spirituality gender. Okay. Calm down, everybody. Okay. Don't come for me. Don't cancel, Luna, whatever. Healing often requires balancing. Okay. Exactly. Healing often requires balancing the energy of doing with the energy of receiving. Okay. The energy of doing is very masculine. The energy of receiving is more feminine. So, in a masculine energy, and this exists in all of us. So, Jacob's like, hey, a lot of people think I have feminine energy. Cool. That's awesome. I think you're a hell of an evolved masculine being if that's how you associate your gender, your sexual orientation gender, your biological gender, and then you're able to hold that feminine energy. That's some successful shit right there. Masculine energy, action, logic, direction, structure. Pay attention. It's also like the hemispheres of our brain. Action, logic, direction, structure. The feminine energy is intuition, flow, creativity, receptivity. So all of this comes together, and we almost like have a hemisync of both hemispheres of our brain. Same thing with a hemisync of both genders, like being able to have the masculine and hold the masculine and feminine energy. So the big conversation here is many emotions exhaust people's lives in survival mode. So masculine energy. I was constantly, for as intuitive as I am that Gen X, get shit done, Capricorn energy. Let's go. Let's produce. Let's have it. What can I do? I drive my husband crazy sometimes because I'm like, I only did this, this, and this. He's like, oh my God, honey, that's crazy. I said, I feel like I'm underachieving. Again, my body, not that it has limitations, but it does definitely have 50 years on this planet. My mind still thinks I'm 22 and I can sling around totes like it's nobody's business, right? But my body realizes, hey, pay attention. It's going to leave you a little sore when you're lifting with those thunder thighs, kiddo. Behave yourself. The big thing, the big takeaway when we're dealing with this conversation, and this is the one I really want you to weigh in on, is you cannot heal while constantly operating like you're in survival mode. Now, remember, we've talked about survival mode and we've talked about the amygdala, the reptilian. Funny, I call it that, but it's true. It's the limbic system of your brain. That's your fight, flight, freeze, and fawn response. If that is constantly engaged, a couple things, we can't heal properly. Our body cannot even heal properly. And then your prefrontal cortex, where you have the brain and your thinking, my loves, you cannot use discernment or pattern recognition. So let's play what if. Just, for all intent and purposes, for entertainment purposes only. Wouldn't it behoove a system to possibly put us in a perpetual state of fear so we couldn't use pattern recognition and discernment and be able to tap into our intuition to allow for that internal healing? Because as I told you, when we started to look at what you heal inside, you heal your outside world. So if we all were able to get past the fear, get out of survival mode, do the internal work, because the internal work has an impact on the external work. What would our world look like if we were permitted to do that? We all took that responsibility. Interesting. Just for entertainment purposes only. We really wouldn't be controlled so well, would we? When was the last time you truly allowed yourself to receive support? Oh, well, I'm bad at that. Like I said, I'm working towards that. I'm working towards trusting myself enough to trust somebody else. But I'm also picky. Like, let's be honest. You guys know I can be picky and petty. I'm good at both. I like things done my way. And that's also a survival and trauma response. Like, if it's not done the Luna way, it's not done the proper way. And maybe some of you guys are like that too, just to be honest, right? Right. But when was the last time you allowed yourself to truly receive support? Where has survival disconnected you from being soft, resting, or having your intuition? Do you see how all these laws come together? And that people don't really talk about this. I wanted to talk about it today because I see a change. I see a shift. I looked at the Schumann. We have a lot of light codes coming down. We have a lot of blessings in our intuition. So the most important thing, and I'll make sure, are there any other questions coming out? Jacob on TikTok said he recently left that into primal. It's a long time. Yeah, absolutely love. Is there anything else that we have coming out or questions? Guys, from you guys over there, how have these laws given you a kind of an impact? What do you think, Nico?
So it took me a while for me to learn all of them, and I'm kind of just looking at all of them popped up onto the screen. The law of vibration, correspondence, attraction. Um, and I realized that once I truly sat down and kind of worked on myself and put time into myself, all of those things kind of came naturally to me.
Naturally, exactly. Nothing's forced.
Correct.
And like I said, it's not performative. It's about becoming the awareness of self and the alignment and the authenticity. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's interesting because what you just said is where I was headed. Awareness changes everything. Patrick, did you want to hop in on this?
Sure. I mean,
Jump in, baby.
just thinking about how, like, all of these things kind of build into our human experience and what builds us into who we are, and kind of breaking that conditioning to allow yourself to like fully kind of experience and just like understand how it affects you can really kind of change your perspective on how you kind of go day to day. And I think that could be pretty impactful.
It is very impactful, right? Awareness, and this, you guys said exactly. Thank you. It's like you guys were like, spike, boom, Luna. Awareness changes everything. You guys, it changes everything. Once you see the pattern, you stop unconsciously repeating it. Once you see the pattern, you stop unconsciously repeating it. So think about that. Like, I will tell you, the two things you're going to need to be highly successful as we move into an AI age, which we are, pattern recognition and discernment, right? The universal laws are not about perfection. Neither are you. They're not asking you to be perfect. But they are asking you to have conscious awareness. You cannot have your head in the ground like an ostrich and see what's happening in the sky, right? Same thing with having your head up your ass and thinking that things are going to change. No, that fart is not a gentle breeze, folks. Okay, so be aware. Just be aware. The final engagement question that I have for all of you, my loves, is which of these laws are you most currently experiencing most deeply in your life right now? So I'll ask it to you guys. Which of these laws are you most experiencing deeply in your life right now? For me, and I'll give you guys a second to answer that. For me personally, I think it's the law of oneness. And that's why I'm truly the divine oneness, really, us all being connected, us all having a shared experience, me being able to hold space for people, even when I know they're not necessarily the same vibration that I'm on, but understanding that we're all having this human experience and give grace when maybe they're not the best versions of themselves. Nico, what about you?
I would say the law of attraction. I'm still working on that one, if I'm being honest. I understand them all, don't get me wrong. But for someone who is, I just turned 21, right? And it feels like, yeah, thank you. Most of my life has just been nothing but negative. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago where I learned about the law of attraction, and that if I keep assuming that negative things are going to happen, not only is that the only thing I'm going to see, but it's just going to bring more of it into my life. And it wasn't up until 6 months ago where I was finally able to break that mental battle, because even though I had known it was wrong for years on end, and that I was dooming myself by having those thoughts or just thinking that it was always going to be a negative outcome, things started to change finally.
Wow.
So, and it's more of just, you know what, an FU universe. I don't care. I'm doing it. You're either going to be with me or you're not.
That's the law of detachment, and that's
So-
perfect. That's another law. I watched you do that. Patrick, real quick.
I'd probably say like the law of rhythm. Like, I try my best to really just like live in the moment and like try to not overthink things, but I can understand that sometimes I can get in my own ways, like emotionally, and like get in my head. So I can get stuck in a sort of
Pattern.
cycle, pattern, and try to break that and try to continue to be myself in the moment and allow it to just be how it is. I think it's probably one of my main ones, I'd say.
There you go. So the call to action, please go ahead and do the following. Share this out with somebody that needs to know these laws. If you're on social media, come back and comment your laws when I'm live. Follow that podcast. Invite this discussion. Mentor, mention some readings and things that I can help. I can obviously help you with that. And we have the resources and tools. Your healing changes more than just you. It changes every space you enter. As always, thank you for joining us on Intuitive Innovations. I'll see you soon.